to the Not Carrie Bradshaw YouTube channel. In this video, I'm a little bit sad that I am recapping the season finale of Gilded Age. Season 1, we have been renewed for season 2. They put out these really cute little invitations, you know, in the spirit of the show. I would like a personal invitation. So HBO Max, I would just really like to be made feel special. So personally send me an invite to season 2. Please and thank you. Just because. Not for any real reason. Who am I? I just want one. I think it would be cute. Anywho, let's jump right in. I'm going to just go ahead and say I was happy with the season finale. One of my really good friends who watches the show with me was like, oh, they didn't really give us anything juicy. The only thing that, you know, was really that intriguing was Peggy's storyline. And I was like, listen, this is not a Shonda Rhimes production, okay? Every show, every movie is not going to be a twist and a turn and a cliffhanger and all of this stuff. The reason that I like shows like Gilded Age and Downton Abbey are because they are low stakes dramas that are made to feel intense via stellar performances by the actors and really great music. You know, I'm not invested in this show for I didn't sign on to watch Scandal, but a period piece, or How to Get Away with Murder, but a period piece. This was perfect for me. There is so much going on in the world right now, as there always is, but it feels like even more so. And I'm not even going to list all of the things because I'm sure I would miss something by the time I post this. So I really enjoy that it's just a low stakes drama where nothing truly bad is gonna happen. It's just petty ass white people and our good sis Peggy, who does have serious shit going on, you know? So let's dive right in. Marian is stressing me the hell out. Marian, you know, I try to give Marian grace, but Marian pissed me off this episode, and I knew that this was coming. Let me be clear. I knew that this was coming, but I was still irritated as hell. I kept looking at the screen. It was given very much stand up. That's all I kept thinking the whole time. It stressed me out. So Marian has decided she's going to marry Mr. Raikes. They are actively making a plan. They're gonna meet up in the park to finalize details. She done got Mrs. Chamberlain involved. She done got Peggy involved. Like, girl, get my bag to Miss Chamberlain house. Like, all of the things. And the whole time I'm just like, for what? What has this man shown you that you trust? Everybody ain't got together to tell the same lie. And, you know, she's like, so many people are just naysayers. And it's like, for good reason, though. But we'll get there. I love that Mrs. Chamberlain was like, yeah, girl, I'll do it. I ain't got shit to lose. Mrs. Chamberlain is like, I already don't have standing in this society. So, like, what's one more scandal? Like, girl, I don't even care. Whatever you need me to do. Meanwhile, Mrs. Russell tries to call on Mrs. Astor. Mrs. Russell's perspective is, I can't have your kids in my house for a party if I don't have your parents' permission and or their attendance. I get what she's saying because, I mean, even in modern day, someone's parents would let, you know, a kid's parents would let another kid's parents know, like, hey, your kid at my house, is that okay with you? And if it's not, you can't come to my house. I felt like that was understandable, but this was also Mrs. Russell playing chess. So she goes over to try to call on Mrs. Astor at 3 p.m. for whatever reason. Mrs. Astor is very particular about when people call on her. Child, that butler came out there like, she ain't here. It was given very much, tell them I'm not here. You know, like, and it was quite obvious that he was lying, but Bertha thought that it was on some, did you tell her about what happened in Newport? Did you snitch on me type shit? And he's like, she not here. And it is what it is. But meanwhile, she clearly was home because she had another guest come, like, right at the same time. So obviously, Bertha is like, this bitch really snubbed me. So she has to deliver the news to Gladys, whose hair just... She is like, her hair makes her whole face look stupid. She looks like a Victorian doll come to life in the most frightening way possible. Anyway, so the whole family is like, you can't kick Carrie out of this ball. Like, this whole ball centers around this certain number of kids dancing this specific dance that they've been practicing for a while. Don't pull the rug out from under them. And Bertha is like, bitch, I said what I said. If the mamas say no, they can't go. This is devastating to everyone, including Carrie. Carrie tells her mom, Carrie really came from Mrs. Astor like, bitch, I know you for your work. And really was like, oh, you think you stronger than Mrs. Russell? We'll see, girl. So Carrie decides that she's going to shun her mother until her mother gives in to just agreeing to not only call on Mrs. Russell, but also attend the ball. And then Mrs. Russell takes it a step further. I appreciate Carrie doing this. The thing is, Mrs. Astor is pretty lonely. Her husband is rarely ever there. I know that a member of the Astor family died in the Titanic, but I can't figure out if that was Mrs. Astor's husband or son or grandson. I need someone to draw me a family tree. I know someone will tell me in the comments because you guys love to do that, so I'll just wait. But either way, Mrs. Astor kind of needs that relationship with her daughter because who else does she have? Her husband ain't never there. So she done had to go to a dinner by herself, child, and she's just like, all right, I'll give in. So Mrs. Astor ends up calling on Mrs. Russell, and Mrs. Russell, again, is playing chess where she's like, what you're gonna do is fix this by not only attending, but also letting everyone else who now knows that you snubbed me, that you're attending, and you're gonna get them to come too. And I was like, okay, make your demands known. Also, George Russell is blackmailing, let me get the name of this family. I don't remember, the Kyburns or something like that. This man is a really important man. Him and his wife are important in high society. So, but that man needs to borrow money. And Mr. Russell was like, well, if you want my money or you want me to extend this loan, y'all gonna have to come to the ball. And he's just like, but what if my wife, these are excuses. If you want this money, and I know your wife want this money, y'all gonna come to this ball. And that's the thing where old money really does have to bow down to new money because they just have more than you. And it doesn't matter like how long you've had land or like where your family came from and whether or not you came from nothing. Ultimately, they have money and you need some of it. So Mr. Russell said, y'all not finna disrespect my family for free. Roll it up. I stand. I'm really here for Mr. Russell. The moment comes where Marian is about to head out to go to Mrs. Chamberlain's and, you know, execute this whole plan. And Aunt Ada, Aunt Ada's not a dummy bitch. You know, Aunt Ada's like, I see what you're doing. Please don't do this. If you really want to marry him, don't avoid the hard conversation with Agnes. She will not forgive this, blah, blah, blah. Marian cannot be convinced. So she takes her little hot ass on over to Mrs. Chamberlain's house with Peggy. And meanwhile, Aurora caught Mr. Raikes at the show, whoring, okay? He was whoring horribly at the opera with this other girl. Meanwhile, he's supposed to marry our good sis Marian. So Aurora pops over after Marian leaves to say, girl, I got some tea. I need to talk to her immediately. And, you know, Aunt Ada is like, you just gonna have to go over to Mrs. Chamberlain's house and just fix this. And it's like, Mrs. Chamberlain's house, the whorehouse? And it's like, yes, bitch, the whorehouse. Which I really like Mrs. Chamberlain. And I'm so annoyed that she's been labeled as this just like awful woman. So anyway, Aurora comes in just in the nick of time. And Marian really isn't trying to hear it, but they're like, girl, he was supposed to be here like an hour ago and he's still not here. And Marian is still very much my man, and I'm gonna sit beside him. And it's like, y'all man left you for dead, hoe. So she decides that she's gonna go and confront Mr. Raikes. And he's like, girl, I was just about to call you. I was just about to write you a letter letting you know how I ain't shit. And Marian is like, well, I suppose you don't have to now. And it's like the whole time I was just like, shoot him. I wanted the show to take a hard left turn and just become a whole other ass genre. Go Game of Thrones final season on his ass. Go scorched earth. Mess him up. Ruin everything. Slap shit off the desk, break stuff in the office. Like, don't be classy about this. Let this man know he done played in your face, Marian. Like, don't take the high road. Drag him to hell. That's how I felt. She didn't do that. I recognize where we are in time, blah, 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 blah. But they all should have jumped him as far as I'm concerned. But Mr. Raikes did what we all kind of knew that he was going to do. And even, you know, Marian really tried to have it in her mind. She really tried to believe that he doesn't care about high society and he doesn't care about being in the it crowd in New York. And Mrs. Chamberlain was like, girl, you think that, but okay, I'm just here, you know, for whatever you want to do. And ultimately, he's like, you know, he just wants more than what their marriage would afford them. And they just were not on the same page. And I personally don't care what he says. I don't think he ever loved her. I think that he assumed that she would be a meal ticket, that she would not be. And that other girl caught his eye and has more. And that's where he wants to go. And I still feel like she should have shot him. Meanwhile, Monsieur Baudin was pulling a Holly Golightly. I lived for this little like subplot, this B plot storyline where he is not from Paris. He was trained there, but he is actually from the Midwest. He's from like Kansas. And he just, you know, developed this whole persona because even today, people still define luxury according to European standards. And he just knew he would get farther as a French chef. So his wife found out, and his wife is the woman who was yelling at him on the street and was like, I'm going to expose you. Like, I'm going to let these people know who you really are, what you're really about. So he had to come clean to Mr. Russell. And Mr. Russell is like a pretty cool, like, understanding ass dude. Like, damn, bro, that's messed up. But they do decide to let him go. And they hired this nut job of a chef who comes in. And I'm just like, I know that was pretty like loose use of opium back then. It was like, if you have a headache, here, honey, have some morphine. What was he on? Because bro was zooted from start to finish. He ends up not actually being able to prepare the food for the ball. And Monsieur Baudin ends up having to come back in. But hearing him go back and forth between those accents was truly hilarious. Absolutely loved it. I really liked that Oscar convinced Aunt Agnes to admit that she was actually sad about Peggy's leaving. I'm hoping that as the show progresses, we'll get to see a softer, more human, I don't want to say soft, a more human side of Aunt Agnes. I want to know more of her backstory. I want to know how she came to be this way, and I want to know how and why Aunt Ada is here as well. Like, I want more of the full story of that. So I hope maybe we can get like a little, you know, flashback. I also really, really love Larry and Marian together. I want that relationship to happen so badly. And there were just these little hints the whole episode, like, you know, he was going to give the aunts the letter. The letter is, you know, of Marian explaining why she eloped, and Marian comes in at the last minute and gets the letters and blah, 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 blah. They waltz together, all of the things. I ship them so hard. One of my friends thinks that Mrs. Russell is going to find out that Marian's engagement, whatever, fell apart with Mr. Raikes, and she's not going to sign off on it. But I'm really hoping that that relationship happens because they're very cute together. Meanwhile, Peggy's mom discovers a letter that Peggy's dad has in his pocket, basically while he's out of town. And basically, Peggy's son is alive and thriving in Pennsylvania, and Peggy wants to go get her son. What finally happened that I was dying to happen is that Peggy's mom was like, I'm on your side. I've always been on your side. And they decide that they are going to go and find this child against Arthur's wishes. And I still can't understand why he was so against this kid. It's not like Peggy had the kid out of wedlock, which was such a huge deal back then. Honestly, that's kind of still a big deal to some people now, but I cannot understand his beef with this child. But he basically tells them, like, if you do this, you'll do this with absolutely no help from me. So it's like, so you're going to let your Black wife and your Black daughter go out into the world alone with no support from you? What a shit stain of a person. So he's on my shit list. You guys know I have my notes to keep up with everything. Mr. McAllister makes a very good point to Mrs. Astor, which is that it's important that we don't exclude new people too much, because new people can go off and form their own society from which will be excluded. So you might as well just go ahead and befriend or bring Mrs. Russell in, and you can take credit for bringing her in. This will keep you at the top. And Mrs. Astor is like, nigga, if you want to go to the party, just say you want to go to the party. Like, you ain't got to do all this. But Mrs. Astor basically does what Carrie and what Mrs. Russell want her to do in terms of, you know, immediately sending out, you know, a mass text that like, hey, if y'all really fuck with me, y'all will come to the party tonight. So that includes Aunt Ada and Aunt Agnes. And I'm sorry, but Aunt Ada is so excited, which I love, because she has so little joy. She lived in a house with her shady ass sister, and I just appreciate that she got to step out for the night, as well as Marian. And can y'all believe that Mr. Raikes had the nerve to show up and speak to our good sis? Don't say nothing to me. You don't know me and I don't know you. Marian was just too classy for me. I'm sorry. She was just way too classy for me. Some furniture would have been moving. But again, she's a classier woman than I'll ever be. Oscar is so shameless. Like, first of all, Gladys should keep that wig for the rest of her life. I hope that next season we see Gladys with a more refined look. Since she has debuted, maybe she'll start wearing her hair up, you know, like the other girls, giving the girls a new do, a new look, a new vibe, a new feel. I really hope that for her, because she's never looked better than when she was wearing that Marie Antoinette style wig. So the ball goes off without a hitch. Everyone is happy. They party till the sun came up. It was a good time. Mrs. Astor showed up. All the A-listers showed up. I love that they partied until the sun came up. Like, I want to go to a party like that. Like, I want to go to a decadent party where it just goes on all night and there's just food and music and dancing and booze and a little bit of low stakes drama that don't have nothing to do with me, and just a good time. And then we all just take carriages home in the morning. I think that John is going to leave Oscar. I don't think that John, not even I don't think, John is not as on board with this whole plot to get Gladys and to just like live on the down low. I think John is either going to swoop in and take Gladys from Oscar, or John is going to leave Oscar completely. And I'm here for it, because Oscar is such a lizard. Like, he has like such a lizard face, you know? But that's it. Make sure I got everything. The light from this camera is really bright, so it is messing with me a bit. But yeah, season 1 was fun. It was the low stakes drama that I needed in my life right now for where we are as a society. Just a little bit of frivolous joy. I'm excited for season 2. I hope we don't have to wait like 2 or 3 years for it, since COVID is doing what it's gonna do. Maybe we won't have to wait that long for season 2. I'm very excited about it. I will be recapping Bridgerton, so watch this space. Come back here when Bridgerton premieres. I will be recapping that episode by episode, so come back and join me. And thanks for joining me for Gilded Age, and I will talk to you guys soon. Be sure to slide in the comments. Let me know what you thought of season 1, your predictions, what you would have liked to have happen, blah, 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 blah. Keep it cute. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and join my Patreon. Send me some money, because I want to live like the Russells. Maybe you can help me get there. I want to throw a party where people party till dawn. I'll invite you, maybe. We'll see.